and welcome to the news at 10 on NTA News 24. We are reaching you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I'm Dennis Adegunloye. Let's begin with the headlines. Security challenges will not be handed over to next administration. President Buhari promises Nigerians.
People without ethnicity, without religion, are killing each other and stealing each other's property. And I would like to be remembered as a person who stabilized this country.
Two days after ECOWAS suspends Guinea over a military coup, delegation heads to the country today. Telecom services shut down in 13 local government areas in Katsina State. Governor orders immediate closure of all illegal motor parks. And ahead of Anambra governorship election, INEC meets security agencies, appeals for violence-free exercise. It's a pleasure to have you join us. Let's now bring you the details. President Muhammadu Buhari has described the pragmatic implementation of the reconstruction, rehabilitation and recovery agenda in Imo State as a critical pathway and towards advancing the Eastern Heartland to the next level of socio-economic development. The president stated this while inaugurating several landmark projects executed by the Hope Uzodinma administration. State House correspondent Adam Musambo has details.
It was a befitting reception for President Muhammadu Buhari on arrival at the Sam Mbakwe International Cargo Airport, Owerri, on his first visit to the southeast since the renewal of his mandate in 2019. Host Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State and the chairman of the Southeast Governors Forum and Governor of Ebonyi State, Dave Umahi, were at the head of the welcoming party.
It shows you that the president has an affinity for the southeast, just as he has for the rest of the country. And of course, we should never forget that he is also an Igbo chief. See how it turned out. His attire complete with cap and the elephant tusk. He has many titles from different parts of the east. It's good for our country, it's good for national unity, it's good for cohesion. And if anybody has had any doubts, if President Buhari discriminates against any part of the country, this should lay it to rest.
During the visit, several critical infrastructure projects executed by the Hope Uzodinma administration in response to the needs and aspirations of Imolites were inaugurated by President Muhammadu Buhari. These include the Naze, Nekede, Ihagu Link Road, balloon-driven flood control tunnel at Dick Tiger Road, Amokohia, Egbede bypass, named after an elder statesman in the area, Chief Emmanuel Onyau, as well as the newly constructed state-of-the-art Executive Council chambers. The president described the execution of the projects within 1 year as not only impressive, but a worthwhile undertaking that places Imo on the path to sustainable future.
And I have seen enough that justifies his integrity. I'm very impressed with what he has done because I have gone through the same problem at the center. Infrastructure is what will enable the people to mind their own businesses. And I assure you that I will try to encourage Imo State within the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Governor Hope Uzodinma had told the president that the roads projects in particular were part of the 46 solid ones executed by his administration for enhanced economic development as well as standard of living of the people.
We are still doing more because we believe that with the right infrastructure, our economic development will be hastened and life will be much better for our people. Our aim is to build a mini Nigeria in Imo State, where everyone will have sense of not only belonging, but unfettered accommodation.
The governor used the opportunity to express formal appreciation of the people to the president for swiftly bringing to an end what he called the politically contrived security breaches in the state.
I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart on behalf of the government and people of Imo State for believing in Imo State and her leadership. We remain sincere in our endeavors to satisfy the yearnings of our people within available resources.
The commitment of the government and people of Imo State to peace and national unity, Governor Uzodimma emphasized, is irrevocable. From Owerri, Imo State, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And staying in Owerri, Imo State, a security-challenged and destabilized Nigeria will not be handed over to the next administration. President Muhammadu Buhari, who made this commitment at a town hall meeting with Southeast leaders, promised to leave a more united, corrupt-free and diversified economy. Here again is State House correspondent Adamu Sambu.
The town hall meeting, attended by political and religious leaders from the southeast, traditional rulers, as well as officials of Ohaneze Ndigbo, was convened to discuss critical national issues as they affect the region and chart the best way forward in the greater interests of the country.
It is important at this juncture for us to reiterate our collective stand that we believe in the unity of Nigeria. We are everywhere making our contributions to the economic advancement of Nigeria. It is really inconceivable to imagine that we should support the breakup of Nigeria, not now, not tomorrow, never.
Mr. President, the leadership of Nigeria must have faith and hope that no secessionist elements can succeed in Nigeria, provided there is good governance based on equity, justice, and fairness to all.
Both the governor and the President General of Ohaneze Ndigbo appreciated the president for improved sense of belonging to the people and federal presence in the region.
Your Excellency, we see today a new dawn in your distinguished presence in Igbo land and believe that on your return to Abuja, the significance and substance of this visit will form a new foundation of a platform for meaningful dialogue on critical issues of concern to Ndigbo.
We also wish to use this auspicious occasion to assure Mr. President of the continued support of the Southeast to your administration. You can always count on us because you have shown us that you are not insensitive to the yearnings of our people.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who described as overwhelming the reception accorded him, promised not to leave anything to chance in effectively securing Nigeria for sustainable growth and development.
The biggest disappointment is now the Northwest and North Central. People without ethnicity, without religious thing, are killing each other and stealing each other's property. And I would like to be remembered as a person who stabilized this country. If there is no security, there is nothing anybody can do, no matter how much he tries or how much initiative he has. Security is number one thing, and we'll try and do that.
The president also promised to sustain efforts at addressing the nation's infrastructure deficit, diversifying the economy, and fighting corruption.
I will make sure, if I know within the system, I will stop corruption. I thank God that I try to keep myself as clean as possible. People will watch and allow you to make one or two mistakes, and then they will make 1,000 mistakes. I will do my best to make sure that Nigerians that try hard succeed in their efforts.
President Buhari described as unthinkable that some Igbos can contemplate secession from Nigeria, saying everyone will be better off if the nation remains united.
We are going to do the roads, we are going to do the rails, and we are going to stabilize power so that we can realize our potentialities. And as a group, I'm telling you this, the Igbos stand to benefit more than anybody because they are more enterprising.
The event was rounded off with photo opportunities and presentation of gift items to the president in appreciation of his visit and commitment to Nigeria, especially the Southeast. From Owerri, Imo State, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Now, since assumption of office, President Muhammadu Buhari has inaugurated several multi-billion naira infrastructural projects in various parts of the country. Elizabeth Omori reports that while some of these projects are sited in the southeast, others are already completed, while others still are ongoing.
These women have reasons to dance and welcome President Muhammadu Buhari to their states. The federal government, under his leadership, has carried out many projects and policies. In 2019, the runway of the Akano Ibiam International Airport, Enugu, was reconstructed with a 10 billion naira special intervention fund. The 200 billion naira second Niger bridge, comprising the main bridge across the river Niger and 10 kilometers of a 6-lane expressway in Onitsha and Asaba, is taking shape. Earlier in the year, there was a groundbreaking for the reconstruction of Port Harcourt-Maiduguri rail line linking the southeastern states. This is in addition to the planned new seaport in Ebonyi. In the education sector, one of the first EEP projects to be completed and launched was the 2.8 megawatts solar power plant at Alex Ekweme Federal University in Ebonyi State to promote clean and reliable energy among Nigerians. President Buhari also approved the establishment of the new College of Education in Usu, Ebonyi State, a new Federal Polytechnic in Ohodu, Enugu State, and a new Federal Science and Technical College in Amuzu, Ebonyi State. The Ariara Market, Aba, IPP supplying electricity to 4,000 shops in the market was also completed. A new 120 MVA 132/330 kV substation in Oka that will deliver additional 70 megawatts of electricity capacity to Anambra State was also completed. Also installed are circuit breakers, transformers, and feeders at transmission stations in Abakaliki, Enugu, and Onitsha. Installation of a new power transformer in the Aloji transmission substation has increased the station's installed capacity from 450 MVA to 750 MVA and making it the biggest substation in southern Nigeria. Construction of ongoing 2x60 MVA substation in Amasiri and a 150 MVA 330/132 VA substation in Abakaliki, both in Ebonyi State, is ongoing, as well as the construction of a 2x60 MVA transmission substation in Ogbunike Ogidi communities of Anambra State. A 5.5 medical diagnostics center has been completed and operational in Umuahia. An approval has also been given for the construction of a new Air Force base in Owerri, a naval base in Imo. Ebonyi, as one of the states, signed up for the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative to revitalize the fertilizer blending plant in Abakaliki, which now supplies NPK fertilizer to farmers in the state and beyond. Worthy of note is the investment on the Arno gas processing plant with a processing capacity of 300 million standard cubic feet and 1,200 megawatts of electricity generation potential in Imo State. Last year, President Muhammadu Buhari inaugurated the first phase of the Walter Smith Modular Refinery with a production capacity of 270 million liters of petrol annually. President Buhari approved the investment of $10 million by the federal government into the project. More than 60 ongoing federal road and bridge projects across the 5 states of the region are financed by Sukuk and other mechanisms. 362.5 billion naira raised in sovereign Sukuk bonds so far since 2017 has been shared equally across the 6 geopolitical zones. NTA Nigeria recently announced its intention to reconstruct the Enugu-Onitsha Expressway under President Buhari's Executive Order 7, 3 years after the Empower Build program was formally flagged off in Enugu. Other successes recorded include the payment of pension arrears to police officers who were granted presidential pardon in 2000. The Zik Mausoleum was completed in Awka, Anambra State. Partnership between the Nigerian Army and Innocent Motors for the local production, modification, and repair of armored fighting vehicles is another success recorded. An MSME's shared facility at the Obunike Leather Trading Cluster in Anambra State was also completed. The Adada Dam in Enugu and Amauzari Earth Dam in Imo State were completed, as well as water supply schemes in the southeast. Development of Nigeria's eastern ports aided the decongestion of Lagos and to better serve the population in the southeast and south-south of the country. The Calabar, Rivers and Onne ports have witnessed significant infrastructure upgrades and fiscal incentives to facilitate global attention. LPG tanker berthed in the eastern ports for the first time ever in October 2019. That year, Onne port also received its first container ship in 12 years, while Calabar Port received its first container vessels in 11 years. Concession of Onitsha Inland River Port, which is expected to enhance businesses, is in its final stages. Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
You're watching the news at 10, reaching you live on NTA News 24. Still ahead. Suicide cases and efforts to tackle them as Nigeria gives attention to the challenge. This and more when we return.
For now, the best and most efficient way to avoid getting infected is through regular hygienic and sanitary practices, as well as social distancing. As individuals, we remain the greatest weapon to fight this pandemic. By washing our hands regularly with clean water and soap, disinfecting frequently used surfaces and areas, coughing into a tissue or elbow, and strictly adhering to infection prevention control measures in health facilities, we can contain this virus.
Thanks for remaining with us. Let's now head to Katsina State, where telecommunication services have been shut down in at least 13 local government areas of the state. The affected LGAs are Sabuwa, Faskari, Dandume, Batsari, Damusa, Kankara, Jibia, Safana, Dusima, and Kurufi that are on the fringes of the Rugu forest where most of the bandits are hiding. The other three include Funtua, Bakuri, and Malumfashi. This is coming a few days after the National Communications Commission, NCC, denied plans to shut down telecom sites in Katsina State. The NCC had refuted a trending social media story claiming that the Commission had ordered telecom service providers to shut down their sites in Katsina. In a statement, Director General Media Abdul Labran Malumfashi had said the Executive Vice Chairman, CEO of the NCC, Professor Umar Dambata, had spoken to the state government on the matter, where he said the story was false. He added that the purported letter trending in the social media was a cloned version of the one sent to Zamfara State, where there is a total shutdown of telecom sites. NCC had issued a directive to telecom operators to shut down their services in neighboring Zamfara State from September 3rd to enable security agencies to carry out required operations in relation to the pervasive security challenges. And in furtherance, with consistent follow-ups regarding the implementation of the security challenges containment order, Katsina State Executive Council has closed all illegal junctions and roadside motor parks across all the 34 local government areas and the state capital with immediate effect. The State Council further directed all commercial vehicles, including luxurious buses, to immediately relocate their operations to designated approved motor parks. And the council also approved the compulsory use of reflective jackets by all commercial motorcycle riders across the state. The State Ministry of Works, Housing and Transport has been mandated to issue appropriate reflective jacket samples. A statement signed by the Secretary to the governments of the state said that the Commissioners for Local Governments and Chieftaincy Affairs and Works, Housing and Transport and all security agencies have been directed to ensure strict compliance. A delegation from West Africa's main political and economic bloc, ECOWAS, will head to Guinea today, 2 days after it suspended the country's membership in response to a military coup that removed President Alpha Condé. A member of the delegation, Alpha Barry, the Burkinabe member, said foreign ministers of Burkina Faso, Ghana, Nigeria and Togo are due to land in the capital, Conakry, as representatives of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. The high-level diplomatic mission is expected to demand the return to constitutional order and to push for the immediate release of Condé, who was arrested by special forces led by Lieutenant Colonel Mamadi Doumbouya on Sunday. Life in the capital was gradually returning to normal, with markets reopening their doors as citizens await the announcement of a new government. Now, suicide is a growing problem and the numbers tell a shocking story. Reports indicate that every 40 seconds, someone takes their own life, and the World Health Organization, WHO, says about 800,000 people worldwide take their lives every year, although some estimates put that number closer to 1 million. Suicide is the leading cause of death among people aged 15 to 29, and for every suicide or successful suicide, there are as many as 40 attempts at suicide. In Nigeria, reports indicate that suicide is on the rise, as the country has recorded 51 cases in 12 months. The suicide cases were recorded in 22 states, including Anambra, Bayelsa, Benue, Cross River, Delta, Edo, Ekiti, FCT, Imo, Jigawa, Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Kwara, Lagos, Nasarawa, Ondo, Osun, Oyo, Plateau, Rivers, and Zamfara. It showed an increase of 17 when compared with the 34 suicide cases recorded in Nigeria in 2020. The focus for this year in Nigeria is creating hope through action. All right, now joining us via Zoom to speak on the efforts targeted at preventing suicides in Nigeria, we have Dr. Jibril Abdulmalik, consultant psychiatrist and founder at CEDO Foundation. He is with us from Ibadan. You're very welcome to the News at 10.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
All right, so it does appear that cases of suicide are on the increase in the last 1 year alone. As you heard my figures there, certainly a big jump from last year. Now, what factors can you say contribute to these alarming figures?
Right. Thank you very much. We know that there's a change in the dynamics of suicide numbers globally, with a high prevalence among young people. And that trend is not unique to developed world alone. We're also beginning to see that here in Nigeria and other developing countries as well. And what can we do about this? The major risk factor driving this increase is the increase in the rates of mental health problems, especially depression, which is actually the commonest mental health issue. So now we need to appreciate that we have a problem. We need to take steps to address the problem, because suicide by nature is preventable, it's avoidable. It's a tragic but avoidable waste of precious human lives. So we need to have better information about what mental health issues are all about, how to prevent them, how to identify them early, and ensure that those affected get the professional help they need and not wait until it results in a tragic loss of life, such as through suicide.
All right, Dr. Jibril, obviously those who have suicidal tendencies, it's not written on their forehead that they are suicidal. What are the danger signs or the telltale signs that parents, friends, relatives and associates should look out for to help persons who may be having suicidal tendencies?
Right. The key risk factor for suicide is depression. And what you see in someone who is depressed is that there is an overwhelming feeling of sadness. They lose motivation and the drive to do the things they used to enjoy previously. And then they feel like they don't have energy. Even to get out of bed is too much trouble, right? To take care of themselves, to go to class, to do basic things, it looks like it requires superhuman effort to do basic things. Those are the core symptoms you see in depression. Depression is subtle because it's not written on the forehead, as you rightly said, and you need to already have a close relationship with someone so that you notice when things are going differently, there's a change in their usual pattern of behavior. So you may see that they have feelings of guilt and they keep saying, oh, all the things that have gone wrong is my fault. I'm useless. Nobody's going to miss me if I'm no longer here. I'm not good enough, and maybe crying very easily, sleeping poorly, having difficulties concentrating on things they should be able to do normally, like their studies, like their work productivity will nosedive. So these are basic things, but if you are not already close to someone, you will not notice these subtle changes. You will miss it. And so that's why even family members may then feel guilty. Why did I miss this? How come I didn't know? We need to go the extra mile, talk to our children, especially adolescents and teenagers, find out what's going on in their life, what are their challenges, how are they feeling, our spouses, our close friends, our colleagues at work. Let's go the extra mile to show that we care and we want to know how they are doing, so that when they have difficulties, they can call on you, or even if they don't tell you, you can pick it up.
All right.
And then have them a shoulder to lean on. Yes.
All right, Dr. Jibril Abdulmalik, consultant, psychiatrist, and founder at Asido Foundation. Thanks for taking the time to be with us and give us some of your analysis on this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, you're on to the news at 10 on NTA News 24. Stay with us. We'll take another break. We'll be right back.